ケットが鹿児島県種子島宇宙センターから打ち上げられます。このロケットは
U.S. Women's National Team will be celebrating their record-setting third Women's World Cup trophy in the final.
Hey, Bana, can I ask you some question?
Sure.
What is a fantasy football? It's
Fantasy football, you know what? That's a great question. There are so many people that ask that question all the time. You know, there's like men and women that love to watch football and would love to play fantasy football but don't quite understand it. So let me explain this to you and to everybody else. Fantasy football is an online game in which players collect points based on how real life football players perform each week in a game. Okay? Simply put, you choose a virtual team of Premier League football players, and in their real life game, their stats equals points. Okay? So what fantasy football is this. Okay? Fantasy football is a game that allows you, the person who is playing the game with, usually it's a league of 10, 12, maybe even 14, 16 players, 16 people. And they hold a draft and they select, real football players, pro football players. And they compete against each other. Okay, based on stats. That's what fantasy football is. Most leagues, they play for money, they play for trophies, they play for bragging rights. And, people take it very, very seriously. Most people take it very, very serious. And it's not just a virtual game for men. There's a lot of women that play as well. They take it very serious and they're very, very good. Of course, you got to be a little lucky, because, people get hurt. Your team can, you can lose a player, that can make a big difference on your team. So, that's when you have to know how to pick up players, how to drop players and all that. It's just a game that, the more you play, the better you get. And that's the reason that I'm going to bring our subscribers along with me this season to watch me win another championship. I just won one last year. I probably has won about 7 or 8 of them, and it is very, very hard because there's a lot of people that know football, okay? But they get to come along with me this season and watch me go for another championship. Right now I'm 1-2, and so I'm not starting out hot, but I've been here before and I won a championship just like this. So y'all just come along with me and watch. Everybody, welcome to week number 4 in the fantasy football life of the guru. As you see here, I'm going to talk you guys through what was actually going on. Start of the week. Let's see. Justin's spectacular team was predicted to win 122.72 versus, the guru here, 120.15. But as you see, that's not what happened. As I was able to get a big win today, 138.12 against 111.42. So now that's going to bring my record from 1-2 to 2-2. And he's going to go from 1-2 to 1-3. He's going to drop down even more. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on what the other 8 players did this week as well. And as you see again, I told you, like in our format, we have one quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 1 kicker, 1 defense, and 1 defender. And I started Dak Prescott, who passed for 4 touchdowns and 188 passing yards and 35 rushing yards, and that equaled out to be 35.02 points, which was, my biggest player. And then you go down here to Derrick Henry, who was projected to score only 17.54. He turned in a great performance at 23.70 with 157 rush yards and 1 rushing touchdown. And then he added 20 receiving yards. So these 2 guys were like my biggest guys today. As you can see, I had a strategy today. Since I was going to be like the underdog, I decided that, hey, those 2 points, when you use a defense, you don't always get those points because it's easy to score. And, with the defenses, if all you get is 10 points, and, if a team scores, 14 to 21 points, your score can drop down to 0 real quick. Only if your defense get like turnovers, sacks, things like that, that helps, your overall score with your defense. So I just took a chance and said, you know what, I'm not going to use one this week. So that's why you see that empty there. And of course, he used Green Bay's defense, and he ended up getting 7 points out of it. They had 2 sacks, 1 interception, and a fumble recovery. So that kind of helped them. These 2 stats here alone is worth 4 points. And a sack is worth 1 point by itself. So he ended up getting 6 points with his defense, even though they gave up 17 points. So that brought his score to 7 points. I, on the other hand, would have played with the Tennessee Titans, and they gave up 27 points, which, who knows, that might would have gave me a whole lot less than 7, but, it may would have gave me some points. Either way, I chose to drop a defense and pick up an extra player that I may can use next week. I believe that the bye week starts next week. So I wanted to pick up an extra player to have on my roster in case I needed somebody, that could help me get win number 3. So this is what I have right here, as you see. But I could, because the game don't start. I think the late game don't start until 7:15, 7:20 tonight. And then we got like a Monday night game. So I could always drop a player here and go and pick up a defense and slide them in real quick if I was in dire need. But as you see, I've already won. I'm 99% favorite to win this match. Neither of us have any players remaining to be played. Therefore, the score is final for this week for us. I'm glad that y'all was able to come along and watch me win another game. And that's me signing off for this week. Thanks for watching.